Larry Bird has always been the embodiment of quiet authority, the kind of figure who doesn't need to shout to command attention. So when he finally broke his silence about the controversy between Marina Mabrey and Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just another sports opinion. It was a thunderclap that shook the basketball world to its core. Bird, who has built his entire legacy on toughness, discipline, and respect for the game, chose his words carefully. But when he spoke, every syllable cut deep. The legend who once played through pain and pressure with the kind of poise that defined an era wasn't just giving his thoughts, he was issuing a warning about what basketball is becoming and what it risks losing. It all began after that explosive clash between Mabrey and Clark, a moment that turned a hard-fought WNBA game into an international headline. The footage spread across social media in seconds. Marina Mabrey, visibly frustrated, delivered what fans called a cheap shot, and Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest young star, took the hit and kept playing. For some, it was part of the game. For others, it was the exact moment women's basketball crossed a line. Then Larry Bird, who rarely comments on modern basketball, especially the women's game, decided to speak. And when he did, his message wasn't filtered through PR teams or softened for public comfort. It was pure, honest, and devastatingly clear. He said there's a difference between playing tough and playing dirty. In Bird's era, toughness wasn't about blindsiding someone when the ref wasn't looking. It was about standing face to face, playing hard, and earning respect through courage, not cowardice. He reminded everyone that in his time, rivalries were brutal, but they were rooted in respect. You might get knocked down, but you got back up, and when the final buzzer sounded, you shook hands. To him, what Mabrey did wasn't toughness, it was weakness disguised as intensity. And when she brushed off the criticism by claiming she was being unfairly targeted, Bird saw right through it. True champions, he said, don't hide behind excuses. They take responsibility. That line spread like wildfire. Fans flooded social media, debating whether Bird was being too harsh or simply saying what everyone else was too afraid to admit. Some argued that the WNBA needed more fire, more attitude, and more emotion. But others saw Bird's point for what it was, a defense of integrity in a sport that's beginning to confuse aggression with greatness. For Bird, competition wasn't about theatrics. It was about excellence, mental toughness, and discipline, the kind of traits he now sees shining through in Caitlin Clark. What fascinated Bird most wasn't Clark's shooting or her highlight reels, it was the way she carried herself. He said she has something rare, almost unteachable, control. The way she reads the court, makes impossible shots under pressure, and uplifts her teammates, he said, is the mark of true basketball genius. He even went as far as to say that she reminds him of his younger self, not in style, but in spirit. She plays smart. She plays fearless. And most importantly, she plays for the love of the game, not for the drama. But Bird's admiration came with concern. He didn't just praise Clark. He sounded the alarm for what's happening around her. At only 22 years old, she's already facing a level of targeting that he called the weakest form of competition imaginable. Players are no longer trying to outwork her, they're trying to out-hit her. He said that's not basketball, that's desperation. For Bird, Caitlin Clark represents more than just a new star. She represents the very soul of the sport he once helped define. Her composure under pressure, her refusal to retaliate, and her relentless pursuit of excellence remind him of why people fell in love with basketball in the first place. In her, he sees a purity of purpose that's becoming rare. He compared her journey to his own early years, when older players tried to test him every night. But unlike him, Clark faces something even tougher: the unrelenting glare of social media and 24-hour news cycles. Every foul, every word, every emotion she shows becomes content. And still, she keeps her focus. Caitlin's dealing with more at 22 than some players face in their entire careers, Bird said. But that's what makes her special. She doesn't run from it. As Bird's comments spread, fans couldn't ignore the irony. A man who built his career in one of the roughest eras of basketball was now calling out unnecessary roughness. But that was exactly his point. Bird knew the difference between competition and cruelty, and in his view, what happened to Caitlin Clark wasn't passion, it was pettiness. It was an attempt to drag the game backward just as it's finally moving forward. Still, Bird didn't leave it on a negative note. He ended his remarks with a prediction that sent chills through the basketball community. Every hit, every foul, every cheap shot thrown Caitlin Clark's way, he said, is only making her stronger. Pressure reveals character. Bird said quietly. And Caitlin's character is showing. He believes she's not just surviving the adversity, she's evolving through it. Every shove becomes fuel, every insult becomes motivation, and every setback is shaping her into something unstoppable. Bird knows what it's like to carry the weight of expectations, to be the face of a movement, to inspire and frustrate opponents all at once. That's why his defense of Clark didn't sound like pity, it sounded like prophecy. He believes she's not just changing the WNBA, she's redefining what toughness means. Not through retaliation, but through resilience. Her answer to cheap shots isn't revenge. It's another clutch three-pointer, another no-look assist, another reason for fans to believe in her greatness. In the end, Larry Bird's words were more than commentary. They were a mirror held up to the WNBA and to basketball itself. He wasn't scolding the next generation. He was challenging it, because the league now faces a choice: protect its integrity and elevate its stars, or risk letting resentment and reckless play destroy everything it's worked to build. Bird knows what the right choice is. He lived it. He embodied it. And now, with Caitlin Clark carrying that same fire, he's reminding everyone that basketball isn't just about points and highlights. It's about respect, grace, and the unbreakable pursuit of greatness. So as this debate rages on, one thing is certain: Larry Bird didn't speak for nostalgia. He spoke for the game. And whether you agree with him or not, the truth in his words can't be ignored. The future of women's basketball is unfolding before our eyes, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of it. The question is, will the league protect what she's building, or let it crumble under jealousy and short tempers? What do you think of Larry Bird's defense of Caitlin Clark? Was he right to call out the league and players like Marina Mabrey, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts below. And if you believe in protecting the integrity of the game, hit that like button, subscribe for more basketball stories, and join the conversation, because this is only the beginning of a battle that could change the WNBA forever.